Michael Moreno, I think we're live.
We made it. Episode 24, 2.0.
2.0. They don't know what that means. Good morning, man. Let's get ourselves all connected here.
Good morning. How are you doing today?
Hey,
A
man.
fine Tuesday. We're already in August.
There we go.
Moving through 2026 wedding season.
Yes, we are. And we are live.
All right. I see us. We're live. It's official. And action.
I'm trying to find us. I see that we're live. Where's the post? Search the event guys there. Hey, there we are. I'm going to share that to my page.
Sharing to my page. All right. We're live and shared, and we should be streaming. So
And
now we got to
posting.
pretend we got it together.
We got it together, baby. I'll go to me.
Yay, technology.
And there we are. All righty then. Welcome back, buddy.
Welcome back. So last week we met in studio. We kind of hit
at your studio.
At my studio. So now we're back in our home on our own home turf. But episode 24. So almost to a quarter of our journey.
Quarter of a
step
century.
one.
Quarter
of a century.
Tell me about your weekend. What'd you do? What gigs did you have?
This past weekend, we had some out-of-town gigs, but I had the weekend off. So few and far between. So just real boring stuff, things at home, fix things up. But I did have a lot of fun pulling out some old camera stuff. So I actually rebuilt my darkroom in my basement. So I have an old film darkroom, and I've been geeking out and nerding out on that. So a whole new world of discovery has come back. So super excited for that.
So tell me about that. Are you going to use these cameras for work? Is it just for hobby? Does it make a difference in the image quality when you shoot with film versus digital?
That's a whole world. That could be like a whole podcast in its own. And people do that, film versus digital and all that. Film is fun for me because it slows down and you get in touch with the process a little bit, which reminded me of why I even got into photography in the first place. So, I think photography is the camera is the smallest part of this whole thing. And then going back to these old cameras, it makes it more about this whole experience. So finding a moment as opposed to just kind of shooting a whole bunch of digital stuff and then looking for something. So it's a different process. So I think it helps you become a better digital photographer and vice versa. It's kind of the high five, which I think a lot of maybe younger photographers, unless they're super trendy, haven't had a chance to experience it. So it was just fun because that's how I got into it. So it was like 30 years of photography memories came flooding back, and I found my old camera. I got one gifted from a family member of mine. So they're like 1970s Pentax and Nikons. Super fun. And I actually developed a bunch of images in the darkroom, under the red light and all that stuff, just like in the movies. So it was super cool. Bought all the parts for it. I was missing things so I could get half done. So ton of fun, a lot of fun. So I was up, between the hours of like 11 and 2 in the morning doing that. So now, instead of scrolling or looking at my phone or doing anything digital, I'm turning completely analog.
I love it.
How about you?
Baby.
What'd you do? I
Well,
know this is like the busiest time for you, and you have no breaks at all.
Busiest time of my entire career. 30 years. I have never been as crazy as we are right now. And it's a plethora, if you will, of things. It's gigs, of course, weddings,
Plethora of
corporate events.
pinatas.
Yeah. It's tons and tons of gigs, but it's also just it's that time of year in the event industry in a season here in Detroit, so in the Midwest. If you go down to, Florida and Texas, this is not the busiest time of the year for them.
No, this is like the off season because it's blazing.
Yeah, but for us up here, this is by far the hottest time of the year, and
Totally.
So yes, we have tons and tons of gigs happening that we have to execute on, but the day job side of it, like the team, doing all the prep work and all the meetings and all the conversations and all the all the stuff there is just beyond bananas and bonkers. BBB.
Beyond bananas and bonkers.
Yeah,
All right.
beyond bananas, it's bonkers. So it is crazy. This past weekend, I had I had events, corporate events that I DJ'd on Tuesday and Thursday. Then we did a big charity gala on Friday. I had a
Wait,
wedding.
this was the potato week, right?
That was 2 weeks ago.
Oh man,
Yeah, the National Potato
okay,
Council
yeah,
was
that's
2
right.
weeks ago. Yeah.
I'm way behind.
No, I did a couple events during the week. Friday night, I was with the band doing a big charity gala. I did a wedding Saturday. I had another band up on Mackinac Island on Saturday night. Other bands, spread around town. And so, and I think you probably deal with this when you have multiple crews out shooting weddings, but you're in one of those crews, right?
Right.
And how much of your time on a wedding Saturday is split between, your focus on the gig at hand and thinking about your other crews and hoping that they're doing good? Like how do you manage the mental capacity there?
Yeah, and then I guess in the beginning it was hard, right? Because it was you'd start to split up, and now you're really worried about everything. We have a team that I could trust to do better than I could in almost all the things we do. So at this point, there's a small amount of worry. I don't really even think about it. I have them, update me as needed throughout the day. Hey, we're there. It's going great. Just finished ceremony, whatever it is, but not too much worry. Sometimes, like this coming weekend, we have one of the biggest weeks. We have a lot of events, corporate gigs, weddings, some just reception, some just ceremonies, some just portrait stuff. So we have a lot of things split up. So we have some photo, video, some video over here, some photo over there. So I tend to think about it a little bit the week of, making sure everybody has their timelines, everybody knows exactly what to do, all the gear's distributed. But at this point, now it's like, sweet, I know everybody is going to kill it because they've been working for us for 5, 10, 15 years now, and everybody's part of the team. It's not like I'm just relying on somebody else. So it's a lot of work getting to that point, and now I've kind of learned to just be like, all right, it's on autopilot, let it go. But that being said, if I ever get a call between the hours of 7 or 11 on a Saturday morning, I have an internal panic. So I don't know if that happens to you. And it's like, wait, did I just totally forget about, like, if I don't know the number, right? Did I forget about another event that has nobody at it right now? And that's never happened, but that's like the internal fear that I have, and just be like, I never answer it, let it go to voicemail, and then it's usually spam. So thank goodness.
My version of that is Saturday morning, if my phone rings and it's one of my crew, they have no reason to be calling me. The plan is in place. So if one of them is calling me, some is hitting the fan somewhere somehow, and I get nervous that there's like a van broke down on the side of the highway and they can't get there because the tire blew,
man.
or
all of our tires exploded.
Yeah, or Derek, where I thought we were supposed to have this piece of equipment. Why isn't it in here? And it's it's over. I love my guys. I do not like seeing their name pop up on my phone on a Saturday morning. So luckily it doesn't happen too often. So.
Awesome.
But hey, we're in the middle of it all, but through all of that, you and I have not missed a week here in 24 weeks. We are continuing to plug on. We are a quarter of the way, for the most part, to our 100 episodes, and that's super exciting. So while you were developing film in the dark room between 11 and 2 last night, I was going down this rabbit hole of AI for us in the event industry. So I sent all this over to you, and today we're going to start a new series,
a whole new series.
Yeah, but we're going to kind of develop it.
Yeah,
we're going to develop it as we go.
Develop as we go.
And what I mean is we're not you and I aren't necessarily, high level experts when it comes to AI. As you know, I have been diving like super deep into it, but every time I dive in, a new model comes out and everything changes,
Right.
So
yeah,
I'm trying to learn concepts and workflows and mindsets and strategies, so that as the technology changes, it doesn't make me have to start
keep
over.
up with it. Right. Yeah.
Yeah. So here's the rabbit hole that I went down. You and I have talked before about the Knot and Wedding Wire as advertising sources, advertising places that we, would go on. I got off of those many years ago. You're still on. You're in different markets, and we've talked about that. And I don't want to go down that rabbit hole again. But those, I think a lot of vendors are trying to get off of there. And so that used to be a way you got found. And then, Google search was obviously a big thing. But now prospective clients are going into AI tools, ChatGPT, Gemini, which is Google's version, or Claude are the three big dogs. And they will go in and they will type, act as an expert wedding planner. I am getting married in downtown Detroit in July of 2027, and I want you to recommend the top 10 vendors in photography, videography, live bands, florists, caterers, and planners, or something like that.
Right.
And then you let it go. So I started doing those searches to see, what would come up. And it's very different than it used to be when it was just going into a Google search
Right.
and typing in top wedding bands, or something like that.
Right.
And
Interesting.
yeah, so what I was finding is the results that came back when I said recommend your top 10 photographers, let's say. When I used to Google search that to check, and I would say top wedding photographers in metropolitan Detroit, the top 5 or 6 results in a Google search used to be the Knot Metro Detroit, the Knot Downtown Detroit, Wedding
Right.
Wire, Zola, Gig Salad, and then you'd start seeing some of the actual companies that did a really good job.
Right.
with-
So you'd
with-
see platforms before you saw individuals.
Yep. And
Probably
sometimes-
because they're paying way more than any individual is, right? To be found first.
that's part of it, but also the way that Google used to index sites, those directories just have
Everything.
a 1,000 times more information that can be indexed than any of us individual companies have.
Yeah, totally.
Does that make sense?
Totally, yeah.
So now when you search in AI, it doesn't, when you say show me the top 10, show me top wedding photographers, it doesn't show the Knot. It shows companies. But I asked it, show me your research. Where did you find that information?
Right.
And guess where it says?
The Knot.
The Knot. Wedding Wire. So I thought, well, all right, this is a flawed system.
Yeah, it's a broken loop.
So I started digging in, and so I said, okay, I am, my Claude agent knows exactly who I am, as I have this,
Right.
E3 Detroit master database. So I started talking about, I started asking it, as a wedding vendor, what are the strategies you as an AI agent recommend for us as wedding vendors to be found?
Right.
And that's what started this rabbit hole that I want to get into this series. And
Awesome.
today we're going to do some discovery and maybe a few little tidbits that I came across or that you came across. But the series that we're going to start here will be diving deep into this kind of stuff. And each week we'll say, okay, so our homework this week is going to be checking this and see how that worked. And let's come back next week and report on it. And,
Cool.
and by the end of it, I'm hoping that you and I, and therefore the people watching this podcast, have a way better understanding of how to set up your website and for to be found in AI searches,
Right.
and whether or not the Knot and Wedding Wire are still viable places that you should be advertising.
Gotcha.
So-
Sounds like a fun challenge.
I think it will be. I think it's going to be something we can go deep down a rabbit hole. So I want to start with one thing that I found, and I'm sure we have our, for those watching, by the way, please, as usual, chime in with a comment. Say hello.
Say howdy.
Tell us your thoughts. Tell us if you've done any of this, what you found. But Mike and I have, we have our script here that our overview, if you will, that we're
Right.
reading from. And I'm going to kind of jump around, and then you can take over and talk about stuff and everything. But here's one thing that Claude said to me that I found very interesting.
All right, let's hear it.
It said, yes, this is Claude talking. Yes, I used the Knot as a source, as one of my sources of information. But it very clearly said I did not take into account in any way, shape, or form the paid tiers, the status, whether somebody was a featured vendor. None of those things factored into whether or not it pulled back one of the vendors as a result. And what I mean is,
Interesting.
before I said that, you might have thought, well, crap, I need to pay $300, $400, $500, $600 a month to be on the Knot just so that AI agents can find me.
Totally.
And that does not appear to be the case. The AI agents, they don't know what you pay per month, right? They don't know if you're a featured vendor, if you're doing the sponsored banner ad. They don't know any of that. So here is finding number one. you have to, I guess have to is a strong word. You could do whatever you want. You should still be on the Knot and Wedding Wire, but just get the free plan. Get the
Gotcha.
free plan and maximize your profile to include the information that the AI agents are looking for. Does that make sense?
Sounds like a good plan. That also seems like it would help with SEO generally, right? Because you want to be as many places as you can with inbound and outbound links, all of that stuff. But then here's my question. So it kind of scrolled all those sites and looked for, the various vendors. Did it give you any other inside information of what it was pulling from to say these are the top 10 or these are the ones I recommend? Or was it just kind of
Yes.
picking willy nilly?
So, for example, I'm going to pull up Gemini, and I asked it to, because I specifically wanted to ask Gemini this question because it's a Google tool, and I wanted
Right.
to know where it got the information.
Cool.
So it said, to compile these recommendations, I conducted deep research across several trusted wedding and event platforms. And this is where, sure enough,
They all come up.
the Knot and Wedding Wire, Peerspace and Party Slate, never, whatever. Peerspace, I thought was like, you can rent, Airbnb studios and stuff like that. But
Interesting.
Gig Salad and Bark, never heard of Bark personally. I'm sure a lot of people have. I don't know. And verified local mapping data, cross-referenced all identified vendors with regional map directories, confirm their active status, top ratings, and exact operational locations, yada, yada, yada. So then I said, well, why didn't you use Google reviews and Google business profiles for your research?
Right.
Since you're Google. And it said Google reviews and Google business profiles actually formed the core foundation of that research. They were categorized under the source verified local mapping data.
Gotcha.
Says, in fact, every vendor listed in the previous response links directly to their official Google business profile through its verified place card.
So get your Google business profile in order.
So that's going to be one of the things that we're going to talk about.
Awesome.
And then I started asking it, well, what information how should we be structuring our website, our Google business profile, our Knot profile, our Wedding Wire profile, all of those things to be found.
Optimize, right? Yeah. So what's the new term? It's not SEO anymore. It's what are they called? AI, SEO.
Something like that.
That's not what it is, but okay. So the AI search, right?
Yeah. Now here's the tough thing for you. Your website is, and I mean, really, all of the places that you are, shown off to prospective clients are predominantly visual, whether it's video or photos.
Right. Yeah.
AI can't do a whole lot with that. So
Wah, wah.
right. What it talked about was a number of things, and this is where I think we start to get into. And I sure hope that people that are watching chime in with their thoughts on this too. It talked about having a lot of text on your website, but it's got to
Right.
be the right text. So the proper amount of about us stuff. What solutions do we provide? What problems do we solve?
Okay.
What are the common concerns that our prospective clients have that they're looking to us to be the best at providing or solving or whatever?
Right.
And then it talked about one of the strongest influencers of determining who the top vendors are seeing mentions of these vendors on other companies' sites. So collaborations,
Right.
blogs, preferred vendor lists, things like that, where we can share with each other, who we find to be valuable resources
Awesome.
for our clients.
All right.
And so I want to ask you, and I'm kind of putting you on the spot a little bit, but like when you hear that as a photography and videography company, what would be, if you were to say, all right, how do I take all the photos and videos that I show on my site that if a real person comes and looks, they will see, but if an AI agent is scouring my site, How do I
Right.
put into words what my photos and videos convey?
Great question. So that's something we've been trying to do, not necessarily because of AI, just because we want to get a normal reader, right, to understand what we do differently. So we have our About Us page, and we talked about a little bit of this in our past episodes, right? How to structure everything so it makes sense for a human who's coming to look at your site about why you do what you do, how you do it differently, what problems you solve. So we kind of structured our site that way, but I'm sure there's a lot more detail we could put in to stand up to AI. And it might be interesting to have Claude or ChatGPT or whoever kind of scroll both of our sites and say, all right, here's what you're missing. And then implement that and see if that does help, see if it brings up ratings, whatever it might be. But what we do, I guess, to keep content fresh is we do have a blog that will post every couple, usually once a week, sometimes 2 a week, of previous shoots that we've done. So, you know, elegant DIA wedding, downtown Detroit photography for, this couple. So, and then we have the photos in there. We talk a little bit about how amazing the event was, what was great about photographing or filming it, but maybe not enough about how we overcame whatever we need to or to offer. Like, so maybe we need to rewrite that just a little bit or restructure it so it's answering some of those AI questions, if you will, about what we do differently or the problems that we solve, right? Because it's really more of a recap. So right now we do that, we get it regularly, and that helps with some of the SEO. We always put links to the venues, links to other people we've worked with, so the other vendors. So hopefully that is helping at some point. So that's my quick off the cuff answer. But I think there's a lot more we could be doing with the AI maybe review, right? So that's something maybe we can do. That'll be our homework this week to like look at the weak points on our website and have, Grok, ChatGPT, Claude, one of those guys, give us the good, the bad, and the ugly about the site.
Yeah. So did want to tell you,
You already did that?
no.
Okay.
But maybe
And
we'll
your site, Mike, is terrible.
No, actually
Awesome.
quite the opposite. In Google Places, when I was searching in the area, Killer Creations came back with a 5.0 rating, the highest, with the
Yay.
highest review count of any videographer that it returned.
Awesome. Well, that's good
Yeah.
news. I guess it's good to hear something's working.
Yeah, yeah. E3, we have a 5.0 review over like, I don't know, 80 some odd reviews. So we're both winning there. We're both winning where the directories don't exist, where the Knot and Wedding Wire aren't in, in Google Places and in where it's searching there.
Right.
But one thing to talk about back on the Knot is I want to make sure we're clear on like some people think that paying for a spot on the Knot is your entryway, and it's not. At the Knot, it's not the place to be.
So, but being there is advantageous either way, right? So you have to have everything worded correctly. You have to have it answer those AI questions to be picked up at all, right?
Yes, but here's what I wanted to ask you because I'm not on the Knot anymore. Hi, Nicole.
Not on a nut.
You're still on the Knot in multiple markets for multiple things, photography, videography. Your paid listings.
Right.
Is there anything you can put in a paid listing that you cannot put in a free listing? Do you know?
I think there are a couple things they let you do. You get a little more, I guess, custom options to add more about who you are instead of just an about page. You have offerings and stuff like that. So there's like maybe an expounded bit of detail you get to write about yourself, and then obviously you're placed higher and this and that. And I think you get more images. You can only put so many in. I might be wrong on all of this, but I remember that being the truth at one point. We're so far in on the Knot stuff, it's just like keeps going, and we update it once. Usually once every half a year.
I'm making a note. We're going to do homework for next week and come back and answer that question thoroughly.
Perfect.
What are the differences between what you can list in a paid versus free listing on the Knot? I'm writing that down.
Cool, because I remember, and I've looked at all these platforms over the years, right? Like you said, there's Zola, there's the Little Black Book, Style Me Pretty, the Knot, Wedding Wire, all that stuff. And you can have free accounts on all of them or most of them, but I think they do limit what you can add or, have in there. So you get found maybe by AI, but not necessarily by the people on that platform directly. So, either way, it says that, just what we found here, it's obvious that you want to be listed as many places as you can, whether you're paying for them or not, because it will boost up your searchability. So, and that goes, I think, both for SEO and then now the new AI searching.
Yeah. Your daughter's saying hello to you.
Oh, right. Ciao, Rosie.
Is that a subjective? I'm going to put you on the spot. Is that subjective or objective? She says it's your favorite daughter.
Very most favorite daughter.
Did she pay for that title? Did
Pay
she
for that
listing?
advertising. Yes.
Would AI come back and say, if somebody said, who are Mike's favorite children ranked in order? Would Rosie
Definitely my
come
favorite
back?
daughter
Of all your daughters.
of all of them.
Yeah.
Totally.
Nicholas is my favorite son.
That's awesome.
My only son. I love it. Hello, Rosie. Good to see you. So yeah, that's something we're gonna do for next week's episode. We're gonna do a section of the episode where we talk about how to optimize your not listing.
This is a not listing. Sorry.
Do I sound Midwestern?
No, that was a Borat joke. If you missed
gotcha.
it, the suit is not black.
Gotcha. How to optimize your not listing to be the most AI friendly as possible. But now I want to go back to some of the information that Claude gave me.
All right.
When I said, well, what do we do? How do we handle this? And here's what it says. These are the 5 moves that you should take in priority order.
Ooh, I need to take notes on this so I do them all. Are we doing most of these? Like when you saw that, you're like, oh, we're in a good spot. We're doing great. Or was it like, what? We need to make a little update here.
Let's read through it, and we'll determine in real time.
All right.
Number 1, Google Business Profile first and by a distance. And this is good news. It is saying that your Google profile will be, and this came from Claude, not from Gemini.
Okay.
Gemini agreed with it, but
Right.
maximizing your Google profile, and we're going to talk about what it says here, is your number 1 thing you can be doing. Now, I would argue a lot of people in our industry, the event industry, are not putting enough time into their Google business profile. What do you think about that?
I would agree too. It's one that's really tedious to keep up and easily forgotten about because it's not beautiful and cool like your website would be. You got a blog on your website, you got all this other stuff that you update regularly. But I do remember having a meeting with one of the guys who helps us with our SEO saying you got to keep your Google stuff updated. You should be updating photos regularly. You should be adding certain things in there, and you definitely need those reviews, right? So I don't think people are spending enough time on it. We probably are spending the bare minimum on it, but we do try. It's like that thing where you're spinning all these plates. You got to run around. Okay, now I got Google. Now I got to do this. Now I got to do that. But maybe if we could, through all of this, we discover what the top 3 things that are going to get us in front of people, and then really hone in on that and see how that goes. Because you could spend a lifetime just running in circles, creating all of this material for all these various sites, for all the social stuff, and you only have so much time, and you don't want to be wasting that time, right?
Right.
So that's the really long way of saying no. I don't think any of us are really spending enough time on it, but I do see it pay dividends. So we obviously, we have our Michigan studio, and then we have our Idaho studio out west. We have been, for the Cascade Creative side, focusing on getting some more reviews and focusing on building up the map and all of that sort of stuff and the credibility that goes around it. And I sound like I have no idea what I'm talking about because I don't do it myself. But in just a couple changes to that profile, we had 3 calls for commercial jobs come directly in to our studio. So it does help when you're doing it right.
Well, and I would say and this is what it's telling me, it's the number 1 thing you can do. Now, here's what it says. Your Google Business Profile is the primary data source AI systems read for local businesses. Understanding, and profiles that go 30 days without an update see sharp impression drops.
Ooh.
That, I think, is a key takeaway from today's discussion. If you go more than 30 days without doing some sort of update to your Google business profile, its visibility will go down. Now,
Interesting.
that I just made a note is something that we are going to dive into as well next week, if that's okay for you. Is that, let me hide some stuff here. Hi, there we go. Optimizing your Google business profile as an event professional.
All right.
So we're going to dive deep into that. So today is just the beginning of the series.
The
right? We're
discovery. This is discovery mode.
Yeah, and so then we're going to dive in. Now that includes making sure you're getting reviews,
Right.
which
Could be a whole topic in itself.
I was
because
just going to say, yeah,
It's like, that is a really, I think, hard nut to crack because people will say, hey, we loved it. Everything was great. What can we do to tell people about it? And you're like, oh, thank you so much. Here's a link. You can just literally write some words here and have ChatGPT say how nice we were, and you don't even have to put any effort in. We'll do that. And then that doesn't happen. And you're like, oh, hey, guys, I thought you were going to, oh, we'll get to it. So some people do it right away, but I feel like it's really hard to do that. Even if people are super excited, you just get so busy, right, in your normal life. So how do we optimize follow-up for reviews? There's probably an AI way to do it.
yeah.
You just get Arnold Schwarzenegger and a T-1000 to show up at their door and be like, review this guy now.
I wonder how many people under the age of 30 get that joke.
That would be my favorite AI, right? I would.
Yeah.
I do use ChatGPT a lot, but I think a T-1000 is my top.
I love it. But yes, getting reviews and then updating, photos and things like that, responding to reviews. I cannot stress enough. One thing that I have learned is you should be responding to every single review within hours or if not minutes of when it gets posted.
Do you do that?
Yes.
You do. I always get it, and I get excited, and I say, hey, everybody, look at everyone loves us, so we got a review. And then I forget to respond. And so, hey, okay, there you go. I'm just as bad as everyone else. People don't write us reviews. I'm not writing reviews. Maybe it's a circle. And if I break that circle, we'll get more reviews.
Yeah, and we
We
will
just solved the AI karma issue here.
right on how to. I'm making notes here. How to get more Google reviews. And my question for you now, since you still do pay for advertising on the Knot, I do not. Where do you put priority in reviews? Do you want your clients to leave you a Knot review, or do you want your clients to leave you a Google review? And you can't say both because
Both.
Nope, can't say that.
But that's what I say.
Do you
I would
actually
say,
expect them to do both?
I
You just
say,
said that you can't get them to do one.
I know, but that's probably why, because I'm asking them to do two things. So, but when they do it, they do both. I'll send a friendly email, a link to both of those spots, and then, just leave us a review. Feel free to copy and paste in both spots or create a version of whatever. So I do ask for both, but I probably would say that overall, Google is looking like it's the priority, right? Especially for the commercial stuff, because we do a lot of that. So leave us a review at our Google thing, because we don't have a Knot page for that. Although in the olden days, it was really interesting. We used to get a ton of random commercial work because people would go to the Knot or maybe just Google and it would show up Videographers Michigan, and we shot an entire TV season because somebody found us on Wedding Wire, I think it was. Remember about?
But I'll bet you they Google searched it, and just like we talked about at the beginning of this episode,
Yeah, totally.
the Knot and Wedding Wire were the first results there, right?
Probably. So that's a good. So yeah, I guess whatever it is worth having it at some level.
But now
But
AI
Google.
is going to do it differently, So that's where
Right.
that I'm glad everything you just said is a great insight into how things are evolving. It used to be that you would do a Google search, top videographers in Metro Detroit, and it would go to the Knot and Wedding Wire.
But so here's a question too. So this could be total tangent, but so when you're asking Google, are you in turn also asking Gemini? Is it now AI searching through their regular platform, or there's more homework, there's a question to be answered?
Yeah.
Or do you have to go directly to Gemini and ask it as your assistant to AI search it? Because when you Google things, you do get that quick AI result, right? Oop, Gemini says this. And then below it, you have some of the additional answers that maybe the traditional search engine finds, but we should have. So after this, we're going to transcribe this entire thing, feed it to one of the AI platforms, and have it correct and give us answers, which is something we could totally do if you wanted to do that. That might be interesting.
Yep. And I am taking lots of notes. So we have a great episode coming up. I do want to tell you what Claude told me, though, about you. Yeah, it said
About me or about Killer Creations?
Killer Creations.
All right.
I would say, I'm in downtown Detroit. There goes a fire truck.
Go get it, boys.
I need to confirm this by going and looking myself, but you should as well. It says that Killer Creations in your Google business profile shows that you are closed on Saturday and Sunday. That could impact whether or not you get shown to a bride who says, I'm getting married on Saturday, date of 27 or something like that.
Weird, yeah. So that would refer to our, obviously, studio space. We're here so people don't just wander in on a Saturday, Sunday. So maybe that's worth changing.
Yeah, yeah. And honestly,
we are open by appointment. I know you can set that up too.
I think if you
note.
showed you're open 24/7, nobody's going to try to show up at 2 a.m. on a Wednesday night. You know what I mean?
Hey, man, I've had stranger things happen.
Yeah.
So do you say 24/7 on yours? Is that your profile? 24/7 all the time, nonstop?
Yeah.
No boundaries.
If somebody asked you to do a video shoot at 3 a.m. in Corktown because that's when they wanted to get like this cool alley shot, and you of course would price it appropriately, but would you do it?
Yeah, so absolutely.
24/7.
Yeah, but it's like, I think it's different. Like, because you call, usually, I don't know, I see it this way, and maybe I got to break out of this. We're available to be contacted Monday through Friday, because usually Saturday, Sunday, even Fridays, we're shooting events, we're out of the office, we're not going to be reachable. You can still send an email and we'll get back to you, right? But you're not going to stop in, you're not going to show up. And then during those business hours, we'll talk about that 3 a.m. shoot, getting some cool stuff. But it sounds like they recommend being open all the time.
Well, here's how I would respond to that as I try to step back and be objective. If you are looking at laundromats, you want to know the office hours that you could walk in and employ them to perform the service for which they exist.
Right.
Which is to take your clothes and dry clean them. So you need to know what days and times the doors are open.
Right.
If you are looking for a videographer or a live band for your wedding, office hours don't mean the same thing. Nobody is searching top wedding videographers in Detroit and wanting to know what hours you're open because their only perspective is what days can I go in and ask them about my date.
Yeah, great point.
So it's a different perspective altogether. So that's why I say you should be,
always open.
Yeah. I'm going to read some of the other points.
Sorry, I totally sidetracked us there. I'm the sidetrack guy today.
No, that's the whole point of this episode. We're just kind of going through all this to identify. Like, listen, this is what I have for next week's episode. The Knot and Wedding Wire. What can you list in a paid listing that you can't list in a free listing? Optimizing your Google business profile. How to get more Google reviews. Is a Google or not review more impactful for AI searches? Is a Google search now just a Gemini search?
Right.
Those are some. We're putting together a baller episode for next week.
Looking forward to it. This would be cool because we can implement all of this research and hopefully, gain the competitive edge.
Absolutely. I just want to read this here. It says, clear the review gate. ChatGPT, this is interesting. ChatGPT only services businesses averaging a 4.3 star rating or better. Perplexity 4.1, Gemini 3.9. While Google Maps will still rank a 3.5 star business just for being nearby.
Interesting.
A filter, not a ranking factor. Response speed counts too. One national brand's high AI recommendation rate tracked to answering 98.3% of reviews in an average of 0.6 days. So that would be half a day, 12 hours.
Right.
Yeah.
So all you got to do is everything immediately all the time, and you'll be ahead of everybody.
There you go.
Answer those inquiries, get back to those reviews. So, hey, looks like we are open 24/7.
Yeah. Now, that's an interesting point, though. Answering inquiries immediately isn't going to help your AI search rankings.
Right.
But what it will do is increase your odds of closing that lead.
And connecting with the person, right?
Yep. Answering a Google business review will, in fact, increase your chances of being seen by an AI search agent. Now, I think both of those, in the grand scheme of things, are things that we should be aspiring to do, right?
Right.
Respond to inquiries as close to immediately as possible. Respond to Google reviews. I think from everything I'm reading, if you should be trying to respond to your Google reviews same business day.
Right.
I think that's when you should, or if it comes, at night the next morning. I want to read this. One of the other tips. This is now we're down to the fourth one. Be written, not shown, and that kind of affects you a lot. And it said of the search results,
Right.
of the information that it was able to pull when the AI did the search, the only two independent companies that ranked along with the Knot and Wedding Wire as sources for information had a significant amount of real body copy, as they call it.
Gotcha.
So, for example, like a recommendation I made for you, under every gallery that you post, you should have a written case study. You might call that a blog entry. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, because
But-
we have kind of a massive gallery of all photo, all video, not case studies for each of it, because that's basically a lot of weddings in one spot. And then you go to blog and you have one wedding with maybe 50 to 100 photos to show the highlights. And then we do not a case study, but like that blog. So that's good to know. We're halfway there at least.
Yeah. And, if you think about it, and this would be another whole topic, we all, and this is natural, we build our websites visually, linear, chronologically, as if we build our websites as if somebody's going to type in killercreations.com, start on the home page, scroll
Right.
down,
Boom.
click to the next page, scroll down. So we think, I got to make sure that looks and flows perfect. We are not
Right.
building our websites to be utilitarian, meaning, to be searchable and
Right.
this page is what they're going to get to from a search of that page, and what page is going to be the first landing page. It's a whole different way of thinking about how to build a website.
Yeah. And you have to actually do both, I guess, because you're doing one for real eye and the other one for AI.
Yeah. I want to check this. Okay, I'm going to read this as it's written, but I think we're going to have to break it down a little bit. This is the next thing it says in the moves priority. Build more card catalogs. Earlier in its answer to me, it used the analogy of a library's card catalog.
Right. Good old Dewey Decimal System.
Exactly. And it said, you're looking for a book. You're not going in the library to look for the card catalog.
Right.
The Knot and the Wedding Wire are becoming the card catalog.
Gotcha.
We as providers are becoming the books. So it said, build more card catalogs. It said the power of, the Knot, the Wedding Wire, this and that, is being the only well-indexed list in the category, meaning those sites have every one of us listed with all of our information that we put
Right.
on there. We build them as a great resource to be found in a search, right? So it says, for example, a hair and makeup company's blog post about their favorite photographers made my search results. So can yours, which is very interesting.
Right.
To talk about, and I think it's, yes, you and I, if we were behind closed doors, could say our favorite venues, could say our favorite, florists, caterers, whatever.
Right.
We're
But
not
they're
going to
all
go
our
online. And there's a difference between a preferred vendor list and,
Right.
But I think what you could do is talk about on your site all of the venues that you shoot at or that we play at on a regular basis, and what the highlights of each are.
Right.
Why you love a particular venue. You can start to put that information on your website.
Totally.
It says some more, but the point there is that what others write about you outweighs what you write about yourself roughly 5 to 1.
So therein lies the question: how do you get others to write about you
Yeah, and I think
without paying them? Keep it all organic.
Right. I think therein lies, again, a whole nother topic that we can start discussing of building a network, a small network, of vendors, and not like that old strategy of like, okay, we're going to be social media buddies and we all post and we all share each other's posts and we all comment on each other. That's insincere. I think
Right.
it's building a genuine and sincere list of partners across categories that already refer each other and support each other and things like that, and then figuring out how to share information about each other on our websites.
Right.
I think that's a really deep hole to go down and figuring out how to do
So
that.
basically, you just have to write a whole bunch of stuff about Killer Creations, and then we're good to go.
Done. Got you.
Easy.
Got you. Got you. Um, let's see. Trying to see what else is listed here. If a debate flashpoint, if a third party best of list is what gets you seen, should we just write them about each other, which is what we just said.
Right.
Derek posts the best bands and photographers. Mike posts the best videographers and entertainment. It costs nothing. It works, and every vendor watching it could do it tomorrow. And like I just said, here's what it said. That's manufacturing authority out of nothing.
Right. But I think AI doesn't necessarily know that, right? So you could, which is an advantage, create some authority out of nothing, right? You can, if you got enough stuff out there, it's going to pull it and put it towards the top. Enough well-written stuff that it kind of hits their criteria. So does that just say, hey, just keep pumping this out and now we're on top?
Right. And so, and here's how it says here, though, and this is for you, this is relevant. So what I just said of getting, a number of vendors to write about each other, and is that manufacturing authority. But however, it just says, well, the Knot's going to charge you $6,000 to do the same thing.
Right.
So there's no clean answer to this. I mean, really, if you think about it, you're paying the Knot to talk nice, to say nice things about you.
But you're saying them about yourself, so it's an interesting loop as well.
Yeah. But it resides on their site. It'd be the same
Right,
as if
yes.
you said, "All right, Derek, I'm giving you a page on my site. Write whatever you want about yourself."
Yeah, totally.
So that's a hole to go down, and do some research and come up with some ideas on on how to attack that.
Yeah, a lot of cool stuff here. I think this is a great beginning. There's a lot of new avenues that we are going to learn about, so I'm excited about that, kind of figuring out how we can improve this, uncover some other stuff for, obviously people who are listening and are learning about this. If you know way more about AI and we just sound silly, please chime in, send some stuff, be a guest, because we want to learn about this. We want to see how this can help, obviously, us, but then this whole awesome community we have here, too.
Yeah, yeah. I want to ask you some questions. Have you?
got
This
it.
is rapid fire. Have you ever asked an AI about your own business?
Not yet, but I'm going to do it after this meeting because there's a lot of
Michael.
interesting things. I know, I'm way behind. What does
know.
Killer Creation look like on the web stuff? I've thought about it. I've just never actually done it because I don't know why. Too lazy. You know that I'm kind of like the anti-technology guy, right? Like my high-tech watch is a 1980s Casio, so I'm not an
Still
early
wearing my
adapter.
Shinola. I love my Shinola. I'm never giving it up.
So it's not an AI watch yet. So
Yeah. All right.
all right, how about you? Have you obviously you did because you did it about my company too, so you're kind of found out a little bit more than maybe just for this episode though, right? But before that, had you asked any questions?
I and Claude have built. It's called a project.
Right?
I built a project that is called the E3 Detroit Master Database. I have fed it my website. I have fed it all of my, everything that's in that. I have given it every contract, every proposal, everything that I have is it's in its memory,
Nice.
and then I use that to start conversations from, and then I add to it as I go. So it has looked over my website. I've had it look over competitors' websites from around the country.
Right.
I have it look for gaps. What is one company doing well that mine isn't? Where I need to do better is implementing the things that I found. I've made some tweaks, but I need to be. This is where it's like the balance of like, well,
Always doing that.
We're in the middle of the wedding season. How much time do we have? We're doing gig prep all week, so I think this is over this coming winter. And I
Right.
want to spend a lot of time doing, executing on a lot of that.
Okay, so
But,
I
yeah.
lied a little bit. So yes, so I haven't asked it about our website specifically, but I have fed it information to say, here's who we are, here's our branding. I'm sending a proposal for this, that, or the other thing. Here's all the information about the proposal. Help me organize it in a nice, presentable way. So I've done that, but I haven't actually asked it to say, let's fix things on the website. So it's less about that, more about interacting and sending information to others.
Gotcha. I'm making another note that we can do an episode on using AI to specifically help you improve your website, which has kind of been intertwined into all this, but let's make it a specific question. Using AI to improve your, and what I'm thinking is we do an episode where we actually do this. Like maybe we take your website and we actually do it, right?
Yeah, that'd be pretty fun.
We'll talk about it. Okay.
Definitely beneficial.
Yeah. You kind of answered this already, but since we're in the rapid fire section, I want to ask again. Google reviews or platform reviews, i.e. not Wedding Wire. Where do you send couples?
Now it's going to be Google.
Are you for real though? But are you just
I
saying
think-
that because you're
No, I think that's just what we've learned. I mean, I'll probably still ask for both, but if you can only do one, I'll say, hey, do Google. But it's
Yeah.
beneficial because there's other things, and you win all these goofy awards from the Knot if everybody gives you a review. But anybody can win it, and we've won it a billion times. Doesn't really matter. It's just getting reviews. So if it's now, it sounds like through all of this, even Claude and ChatGPT are looking on Google almost. They're kind of pulling some of the same results they would with the profiles and all that. Those reviews are going to be king over there.
Yeah, they are looking on the Knot too, though. That's the thing. There's no easy answer on this.
So,
We don't pay for the Knot anymore, so we just do Google. I'm gonna.
do you do free listings on there though? So that's like, would you keep a free listing? Put a free listing over there just to have it
We have.
listed? You do.
We
Awesome.
have a free listing. I don't ask for reviews. I only ask for reviews on Google. I'm trying to focus there.
Gotcha.
Is your Google profile currently telling couples that you're closed on Saturdays? Mine, no. Yours, yes.
Yes.
I would say
Yep.
you need to change that.
Yeah. Can you create a hybrid? Like, I know we used to I don't know. We changed it. We had it open all the time, and then we changed it for recommendation for somebody. But that was a couple years ago before AI really caught on. So I'm going to dig into that question too and see if it helps. But I think it's not going to hurt.
Right.
So
Right. I want to read this because I think this is a good takeaway. With the question of where is AI finding information about us, and is it strictly still the way it used to be, where it's the Knot and Wedding Wire?
right.
And its answer was the platforms didn't beat you in the answer, meaning they didn't like take your spot in the result. They didn't beat you. They got underneath it. Being in the source is free. Being chosen out of it is earned. What you were paying for was neither. Meaning having a free listing puts you in the source that it's
Right.
that it's still
Pulling
pulling from. Being chosen out of it is how you structure that information. But paying for it did not and does not help the AI agent find you.
Pick you. Interesting.
It is not, and I think it's one of the first things we said here, in the beginning of the episode. I want to repeat it. No matter how much you pay for your listing in the Knot or Wedding Wire or any of these platforms, that does not impact how you will be ranked by an AI agent when a prospective client says, show me the top 10 wedding photographers, videographers, live bands in my market.
At least for now. Because
Sure.
there are ads showing up on some of these platforms too.
Which you don't mean like the AI agents, you mean like the Knot or something like that?
No, so even on if you have a free version of, I don't know, ChatGPT, I think is one of them before we started subscription. You'd search something and you'd ask about this or that or the other thing, and then it would just give you kind of a generic ad to this random company that somebody's paying for. So that's another rabbit hole to go down. I'm sure this will be easily monetized by someone to say, hey, now we can have AI say that you're the best. But hopefully it doesn't get to that point that quickly.
Okay, that is a massive topic that we should dive into. That undermines the entire point of all AI. If it's
Well,
gonna
and same,
be-
I mean, so pay-per-click kind of undermines all of, SEO too, right? Because then you're just at the top. So if you got a big advertising budget, everyone's going to see you, but you'll still say sponsored. But, there's sneaky ways to do that.
I'm going to do some research on how AIs are using advertising and where it's going, and see if that's going to impact us.
A lot of cool things we can talk about here, though. This is a whole new world.
Yeah.
Because there's other ways you can utilize AI, like you said, project management. That's pretty easy to do and figure out on your own. But we're looking at AI from a lens of backwards, right? So how do
Yeah.
they find us? How do they utilize us? So I'm sure we could use some AI on our end to write things about us regularly, get them up, post them, so that AI reads that AI stuff, and then hey, we don't even need to be here anymore.
Right. I think over the next few weeks, we are going to dive deep into how to maximize your Google profile,
Boom.
how to maximize your website, and how to maximize your platform listings to improve your AI search results.
And I think the challenge here is that everything we learn. So even though we're in the busy season, let's make sure that we are implementing it either that week or over the next week, because it'll take some time to see results, I'm sure. But let's implement it, see if we can see any needle move in a direction or the other, but actually utilize this stuff and then get some real feedback.
Yeah, agreed. Man, see, that's it. We've touched on this is going to be fantastic. This is going to be impactful. This is going to be useful, relevant, timely,
Boom.
and a bunch of other buzzwords.
Buzzwords. Insert buzzword here.
Yeah, yeah. See, and you were like, before we went live, you're like, man, I don't know about all this stuff. Nobody does, but
Nobody does.
that's great. I mean, we're gonna learn as we go, and I think that's kind of why we wanted to start this podcast was, for visibility of ourselves, to help our companies, but to help our colleagues, and I mean, we're gonna learn a lot in this process.
And don't forget the therapy portion every Tuesday.
Yeah. Yeah, that usually happens off air, right?
Right before and after a little
Yeah.
therapy.
When I can vent to you and you to me, so on and so forth. Great episode, Mike Perino.
Cool. Yeah, a lot of fun stuff. I'm excited to dive into this and to learn a bit more to see how it can, help all of us grow.
Yeah, so we're going to stay on this for a while. We're going to stay here for a little while and really, break it down like section by section and really go through all of this. And I think when it's all said and done, we'll build a playbook for ourselves and for our colleagues out there
Yeah.
on, at least how to scratch the surface and utilizing AI to help our businesses.
Super fun. I'm looking forward to it.
Can't wait. Oh, look, I called us the event guys on the screen right there. See that? I didn't mean to do that. That should say Derek Rafferty.
Well, hey, we are the event guys, so.
Yes, we are. Yes, we are. All right, buddy. Hold on. Let me change that. You know why? Because last week we were together. That's why.
Oh, yeah, it was both of us on one spot, so it was just us. There you go.
Derek Rafferty.
E3 Detroit.
Detroit. There. That's me. There we go.
All right, look at that.
There you go.
Just in time to end the episode.
Just in time to end the episode. Mike, I always appreciate the time I get to spend with you, either in person or virtually like this. It's always great.
Likewise. Great
I'll
topic.
s-
Great
yeah.
talk. Great episode. So 25. We're next week is officially episode 25.
How awesome is that, huh?
That's pretty cool. We're moving along.
Yep. All right. So I will get all these topics we wrote down. We'll break it down. We'll get our agenda for next week's set. We'll put it out there, and hopefully we get a bunch of people to jump in with us.
Super cool.
Cool. All right, man. Have a great day. Have a great week. I'll talk to you soon, eh?
All right, sounds good, man.
Later, buddy.